Hello, everyone. How are we all doing? Come on in, sit on down. It's time for another live Q&A. It is Wednesday evening. It's 20 to 10 here in the UK. I have no idea what time it is wherever you are, but thanks for being here anyway. I appreciate it. So for the new subscribers, this is what I do on a Wednesday. It's an open, chilled out live session where you can basically just ask me anything you want, and I will end up riffing and rambling for hours on end and probably miss all the comments along the way while I'm at it. But yeah, please forgive me today. I am a little bit raspy. As you can hear, my voice is lacking something. It's not quite there with it, is it? I'm just I'm coming out of having a cold. That's probably a good way to describe it. A bad sinus infection, and it was at its peak yesterday. It was pretty bad yesterday. It was all up in this, and it hit my throat yesterday as well. I just lost my voice. And I managed to kind of pull through and record a video yesterday, but it was still a little bit deep. And today the pain has gone. I'm feeling a lot better. I'm feeling a lot more perkier today. I'm in a much better mood. I think I'm coming out of it finally. But I might just sound a little bit rumbly, a bit odd. So I do apologize for that in advance. If you hate it, then don't bother listening. If you like and prefer the deep, sultry sounds of my bacteria-riddled throat, then there you go. Each to your own, whatever you enjoy. So there you go. That's me. There's my apologies. But yeah, it's been an interesting week. I've also started a parasite cleanse. I'm on day 3 of a wormwood, clove, walnuts, garlic. You know what it is. You do all those things together. And you know what? I think it's already kicking in. I'm having reactions, as you can see. I'm having breakouts, and I think the parasites are bursting out of my skin slowly, alien style. I've got a random one here on my arm as well, and another lesion turned up here too. And going through the motions. But today, day 3, I'm certainly feeling a lot clearer. It's all kind of kicked in properly now, I think, and something's different about today. I can feel more energy kind of in me, and I've got to see this protocol through fully. I'm going to take a break, come back at the bastards again after like a 2-week break to get rid of all those eggs, and hopefully I should be back to normal. And I'm kind of thinking the illness has disappeared because of this cleanse as well. To be honest, it all seems to be lining up pretty well, but it's not without its consequences. Like I said, itching here and there, and I think this winter got away from me. And maybe I ate a little bit too much junk food here and there, stress eating with 2 children, gained a few extra pounds, and I think I just became a parasite playground, basically. And I've got back on the intermittent fast. I've started the cleanse. It's that season, and we're going to be talking about this. It's spring. It's time to clean out. It's time to clean house. It's time to reset. It's the real new year, as we're concerned. We're coming out of winter into a new bloom, and everything is looking better in terms of, I don't know, I'd like to say outlook, but the world's falling apart, so maybe not that. But this is always the case. This is PSYOP season, which is the title of this particular Q&A today. And I don't have anything particular to say that you probably don't already know, but every year around this time, just as we are getting hopeful that things are about to get better because it's been a horrible, miserable, beating us down winter of misery and cold and financial crises and problems and misery, just as we think, oh well, the sun's starting to shine, the flowers are starting to bloom, the leaves are popping open again, and it's getting warmer, then we get hit with World War III and economic crisis and energy lockdowns. That tends to be how it goes. They just can't let us have a day where we feel like things might get better. They just can't have it, can they? It's nope. And this is the season where everything always happens. And obviously they've kicked it off with a brand new mission to space, a manned mission to space, Artemis 2. And this comes after quite a few things, to be honest. I think someone posted it here in my cosmology group. If I say here, the fun behind it, where is it? There's a lot of symbolism behind this particular thing this time. All the astronauts are wearing orange, obviously, which is a heavy Freemason symbol right there immediately. I think as well, was it April Fool's when the first image of Earth was released in like 1966 as well, the 1st of April. They do a lot of things like that, don't they? And I think this is why they've timed it this way. I think this is the anniversary of a lot of things, and of course they'll be doing it on April Fool's Day, because they are fooling us all, aren't they? And they have been for a long time, but I think we're over it. We're moving on. We're past it now. NASA has cancelled Artemis 3 moon landing. The next mission will no longer be the first human landing on the moon. This is from the Independence. Anyway, whatever. It's all nonsense. I try not to bother myself with all that crap anymore, to be honest. I'm kind of past it. It's all just there to distract us. It's all there just to keep us completely locked into a false reality. And I think everyone's kind of over it now. I think they're sick of it. I think even though it is PSYOP season, I think most people are seeing through the absolute nonsense now and are like, again, seriously, like, obviously this is orchestrated. Obviously you've planned all this timing. Like, this is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It looks like Demon Erasers in the house. Good to see you, man. I've not seen you in a while. How are you doing? How are you doing? I saw, it's funny you're here, actually. I saw the other day, there's a YouTube channel that I watch occasionally. What's his name? It's Jack Morgan. And he showed your video. He showed you talking about, I think it's the English language, and breaking it down, the etymology of it, and all sorts of things. And he had some guests on, like it was like a co-show, and you were there ranting away. It was a conspiracy special, and honestly, the guys were sat there after listening to you, like, what the hell did he just say? Yeah. I'm there in the comments like, I know this guy. I've been on podcasts with him. He is a good guy, but he is intense. It was just nice to see a friendly face on a channel which has no business talking about conspiracy theories, but it's good to see you here as well. Thanks for being here, Brian. I appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, just think about this. In the midst of, like, absolute destruction in the Middle East, where everyone's supposedly killing each other, even though most of the footage we're seeing of bombs being dropped are completely false from years ago, and people are saying it's happening currently. And I think people have even used the battlefield simulator Armor 3, is it, or Armor 2, to make it seem like things are being fired and missiles are being fired down. And there's so much misinformation out there currently surrounding this battle in the Middle East. And it's a lot like with the Ukraine situation as well. These things tend to happen, spike, and then they get memory hold as the next big thing happens afterwards. And I guarantee once the energy lockdowns kick in the future, people will be thinking and talking less and less probably about the war, and we'll be on to the next thing that's going to make us suffer for a little while before we come back out the back end of that. But I'm starting to feel like most people really do just see through the bullshit. They're like, nah, I'm not buying it anymore. We can see that you've planned this well in advance. We can see what's going on here, and I think the psyops are getting weaker. They're getting lazier. Make psyops great again. We deserve better psyops. I've heard it going around a few times, and I just feel like we're over it. Is everyone even watching anymore? To some extent, I feel like it's kind of a psyop fatigue is kicking in, and that's a trendy phrase for this generation, isn't it? Everything's a fatigue now. We're fatigued of everything. And I was actually on Jack Morgan I mentioned earlier. He did say something interesting, and it was about the concept of the future. And there was a time, a long time ago, and maybe you remember a time where everyone was like stoked for the future. Like the future was like, man, I can't wait to be in the future. You know what I mean? We had this hopefulness about what's to come. What's going to happen in the future, we always imagine, the meme is we were promised flying cars, but instead what we get is this, what we have instead. And now nobody looks to the future with like hopefulness or joy or optimism. And it's not even with like, we're thinking it's going to be awful necessarily either. It's more, we just don't bother thinking about it anymore. It's like, oh, screw the future. I've got to deal with now. Like, now's hard enough. I don't have to think about it. It can't get better than this, right? It's probably just going to keep going the same, and we'll never get our flying cars. I think that's where people are at now. Like, the mood has kind of shifted, and I think that apathy really has kicked in all round. And I think everyone's just going to go along with non-compliance with pretty much everything coming down the pipeline very soon. And I don't know, I'm starting to feel a little bit like, and me and my wife were just talking about this, but they're getting a bit sloppy, they're getting messy, aren't they, as well? And I think Connor's talked about this on his channel as well before, But it's like, this isn't your granddaddy's deep state. And I do feel like there's an element where it feels like they're rushing ahead right now because they think their time is running out, you know, and we can all kind of sense it. Like, they're making mistakes, they're pushing agendas really fast, and they're not really stopping to breathe. And it's like one thing after another, bam, bam, bam. And we're all feeling like, oh, the time must be running out. They must, you know, they must have, this is it. They're doing the thing, you know, and they've got it all on lock. And I'm wondering if that's really what's happening here. And just humor me, you know. But what if this is actually just, they're actually really, really incompetent, because the people running the agenda now are crap compared to the original creators of this agenda in maybe 3 or 4 centuries ago, you know, let's say 1776, when Adam Weishaupt created the Bavarian Illuminati. Let's just say that long ago, you know, whatever, 250, like 300 years ago or something like this. Like, those people were living in the shit with everybody else. They didn't have that amazing medicine. They did die young. They had teeth problems still. They didn't bathe regularly. They were out earning the money on the floor, working hard and grafting. And, you know, they didn't have penicillin, I don't think, by that point. Like, things were still pretty crap for them. But the point is, they were hardened men, serious men who had an agenda working for Lucifer, you know, and had this secret society, and they were kind of serious about what they were doing, and they were strict with the rules. They were hard and rough, you know, and did not allow mistakes, and were very, like, they were serious about what they were doing, and they were tough. And then they had children, and then they had children, and they pass it down through the generations, don't they, one after the other. And they train, they beat down, torture their children, raise them to be like them, and cold and heartless and ruthless, and an allegiance to Lucifer. And going on, you're going to build towards the great work, son. We're going towards our end goal here, and your generation is going to put another brick into the tower that we're building to heaven, you know. And you need to continue the work that I've left behind. And they pick it up and they carry on. But with each passing generation, they get richer, accrue more wealth, get their tendrils deeper into institutions, and acquire more power and ability. And eventually they kind of fought, I think they may have fell victim to their own success, because every child born to the next generation that has more gets weaker and softer, and they aren't as hard and haven't been raised quite as into the shit as the previous generations, you know. And they're pampered and they're soft, and their nepotism has been nothing but their life. Everything was handed to them. They never worked hard for anything in their entire life. They are spoilt brats with no desire or care or want to even continue their father's legacy, especially by this generation. And it's kind of like the people running the show now in this multi-generational conspiracy that's been going on for like over 100 years, hundreds of years, are not the same as the people who started this, and isn't just how God would make it go. It's kind of, you have these plans, but God laughs type of thing. And it's now the people running the show now have lost control because they don't know what they're doing, really. Like, they are making mistakes. They're taking shortcuts. They're bickering with each other. They are jumping the gun. They're not being patient. They're rushing things. And the older generations were willing to wait. And I think there's also an element of, there's a contingent of old people in control right now. And I think it is, people define this as the boomer generation, but they're not conspiracy theorists who talk about it like this. But even they're kind of framing it as like, that generation is clinging to power and they do not want to lose it. Like, they're desperate to hold on for as long as possible. And it's kind of, are these the people who want to hit that technology reaches immortality stage? And they are really pushing forward because they want to see the great work be finished in their lifetime. Like a selfish generation of controllers, you know. And again, their children are all drug-addled, sex-addled, like perverted weirdo creeps going out there just messing up all the time and getting into scandals, while the older generation, who is just as dumb as the previous generation and spoiled beyond belief and delusional, they're kind of like running the show now and pushing ahead because their time is running out, while the younger generation do not even want to take over, or the ones that are taking over are just pathetic and terrible. And I think maybe this whole thing is just going to trickle and fizz out with time over the next maybe 50, 100 years on its own, to be honest, just simply because of the ineptitude of the progeny that's been going on through generation after generation, getting worse and worse because of their own success and wealth, ruining them and spoiling them and making them weak. Maybe that's what's going on. I said humor me. Maybe I'm talking absolute shit. But I like thinking about that concept and looking at the world today and what they're doing and how like the public are like clocking on. They're like, hang on, this all seems a bit much. Digital IDs, lockdowns. Didn't we just have a lockdown? We saw how that went. It's like this war. Like, why are we fighting in Israel again? What's this got to do with us? Really? It's like end time stuff. Are we sure about that? Like, what is going on? Like, everyone's kind of going, nah, this doesn't feel right. This is wrong. This is not the world I kind of know. This feels off script. Is kind of what they're saying. And maybe they're right. Maybe everyone's noticing because they are getting sloppy. They are rushing things and they are not very good at what they used to be able to do. And obviously with the loss of control of legacy media, no one's watching it anymore. And obviously the wild west of the internet kind of revolutionizing information and making people notice and share information much faster than they probably anticipated. Maybe we do have some hope here and there's a foothold and something's going on. Maybe. This is in stark contrast to my last video where I'm saying, well, maybe we don't have a chance at all and the system is just going to fall and burn. But maybe that's how it falls and burns, like just with ineptitude, not because of some grand intelligent scheme, but just basic bog standard human incompetency is how this whole thing collapses in on itself. And whatever comes afterwards, maybe this is how they anticipate it. It's like, look, we know we're not going to be able to keep this up forever. We know it's going to collapse. We just need to make sure the collapse is so total and ridiculous that what comes after it, we can hopefully rebuild into the new world order that we want. Maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. I'm just theorizing here, but I just feel like it's getting ridiculous, and I don't think people can take it that serious anymore. I don't think people are taking it serious anymore. Like, of course, there's serious things happening. People are dying, bombs are dropping, and it's pretty brutal and horrible. But the people they're trying to convince about the narratives that they're explaining why this is happening, it's kind of nah, and I don't think so. No, I don't think so at all. I think this is wrong, and there seems to be like a rising political pushback right now to a lot of this stuff. And I think that a lot of people are realizing, like, I think I'm just not going to vote, though. I'm not going to buy that thing anymore. I'm not going to watch that thing anymore. I'm just not going to fund it with my wallet anymore. It's like a silent checkout does appear to be happening, at least with younger generations. I think some of the older generations, unfortunately, are too set in their ways. But they are going to be disappearing over the next 20 years, and there will be a replacement of Gen X and millennials into positions of power. And honestly, I don't feel like our generations, Gen X and millennials, I don't think we're going to continue what came before. And I think a lot of the brainwashing, the concerted efforts to make everyone a liberal maniac, basically, was primarily aimed at Gen X and millennials. And because they knew once they get the reins of power, we need them to continue this agenda further into where we need it to be. And I think the pendulum has just swung hard back the other way as a result of what they were doing. And maybe that was their plan all along for the whole Christian nationalism rise situation. Maybe. But it could be the case that they just lost control. Again, humor me here. Maybe this is what's going on. This is April Fool's after all, so we're allowed to speculate on wild, crazy ideas, are we not? Now, deep down, I would love... This is the optimistic side of me coming out. This is the best case scenario, isn't it? This is where we're going, and there's hope because the stupidity will be their downfall in the end. And this could be it could genuinely be the case. What do we know? Part of me, though, my pessimistic, realistic side, deep in my soul, is telling me it's more likely that even the left-wing liberal stuff was propped up to fall. It's supposed to be outrageously ridiculous to make the public in general just say hell no and turn against it and swing into the hard right Christian nationalism type worldview. But the collapse of Zionism is all by design. The collapse of the evil hierarchy secret society control system is all by design. They are ashing everything to build their phoenix from the ashes, which will seem and make it feel like everybody has won. The the good, righteous, moral Christian right has won. We've got our world, we've taken over. Degeneracy is at the back burner now, and we are marching forward into a glorious new heaven on earth kingdom where everything's made right, you know. And people were basically just marching into the new world order, not realizing that they've been duped, and it's not Christian at all what they've created, and it's actually just Lucifer posing as God, stepping onto the throne to be as God and ascending above God, making his counterfeit millennial reign golden age on the earth, opposed to the millennial reign of Christ, the true savior, you know. And it's going to be some kind of weird hybrid Christian Gnostic alchemical blend with New Age or something like this. It'll be a blend of the East and the West come together. It'll be New Age hippie Jesus running the show, not the crowned and conquering righteous king who brings judgment, you know. It'll be the peace, light, and love and all frequency and energy type of Jesus that we're going to get. But I think that's the point. Like they want some form of like weird hybrid Christianity to feel like it won out against the evil, corrupt, horrible system of the past. And it's going to be so tantalizing. I think even a lot of conspiracy theorists are going to be like, oh, we actually won. We did it. We woke enough people up in time. And look what we've got now. It's wonderful. All the evil people are gone. And all the good people get to rule everything. But that's just going to be the perfect cover, isn't it? And if we're in the little season, then bam, he's got his world, he's got his counterfeit millennial reign after Christ, real millennial reign. Everyone is completely oblivious that Christ already came and established his millennial reign, and this new world order that came after all of that is this final end game gathering of everybody into one army to go make war with the camp of saints. And it's perfect, isn't it? Because now everybody's got something to lose. This wonderful golden age where everyone gets a property, everybody gets a pool, you all have 2 cars per household, have as many kids as you want, gotta get that army, the number of the sands of the sea up while we're at it, you know. And it's yeah, you all get a universal minimum wage, you all get a pension, and while you're at it, have a raise. Everybody gets raises. Oh, you know what? Everybody gets some gold. Have some gold, people. Here's a gold bar for you, a gold bar for you over there. Jobs, who needs them? Here's all the money in the world, everything's automated, it all gets created by robots now. It's wonderful because all the good people in control of everything. There's no evil anywhere anymore. And it's going to seem so wonderful, isn't it? And it's just, no, it's a counterfeit. It's all built and rooted in the world, whatever's coming next, whatever this golden age is going to be. And it's going to be great while we're in it. It's going to feel wonderful. This is how they're going to get you. And it is going to seem like we won. It's going to seem like everything's perfect. You know, it's one of those moments where they're like with a happy ending in a film, and then you realize they were in a dream or something, or it's not really they're in a simulation or something. It's going to be one of those things. Like, and we're going to feel like everything's just wonderful and we've won out and perfect. And then boom, aliens are going to appear or something above us, and we're all going to be like, oh no, what's going on? And then our governments are going to be like, this is a hostile force. They've come to take away all our pretty nice things. It's the Anunnaki who's come back to mine the earth for resources for their own atmosphere. They've come to take all that gold we gave you. And it's kind of like, not my gold. No, screw you. This is mine. And then everyone will get the guns. We're going north. We're going to take that bastard down before it comes down here. And then everybody's just been convinced to go make war with the heavenly New Jerusalem descending from heaven onto earth, no doubt. And there you go. Satan's just convinced the whole earth, the number of the sands of the sea, to go make war with the camp of saints. Isn't that exactly? No, again, I'm riffing here. You've heard me say this 1,000 times, I'm sure. But there's many ways it can play out, many ways they can get people to fight in this thing. And to manipulation and lies is how they get there. They're going to lie to us. They're going to make shit up and lie through their teeth with all governmental authority behind them. It's all going to be free. Everything's free and wonderful. Because the truth, this is the truth as well. This is the other thing. It's kind of scarcity is a lie. The earth has an abundant amount of infinite resources. It really does. That goes on forever and ever and ever. They've even proven that oil wells that they empty naturally fill back up. Oil is not what we've been told it is. Okay, it's like the lifeblood of the earth, and the earth just produces that stuff endlessly. We can actually get energy straight from the atmosphere, the ether directly, without the need to burn anything. Like, the earth is just an abundant, the food just keeps growing infinitely. Like, you plant the seed, it grows. Plant 1,000,000 seeds, you get 1,000,000 of those things. It just goes and it produces more seeds while it's at it. It's an endless cycle. There's more than enough room for every single person on earth, I think, to have like a 2-mile plot of land for themselves or something stupid like this. Like, you can fit the entire population of the earth in like the bottom corner of Texas back to back if you wanted to. It's not even like, it's not what they say it is. Obviously, the media has orchestrated this giant narrative that everything is just, we're running out of resources, the planet's going to die, we're all a cancer on the earth, and we need to stop, and blah, 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 blah. So when it comes to the new world, after some catastrophe where they've culled millions of people so they'll make out, maybe they haven't even done that, they're just saying they have, because who the hell can count that kind of thing? Who's got the ability to count all this stuff? They're probably even lying about the number of the population on the earth right now. It's probably not even 9 billion. Maybe it's like 1 billion or something. I don't know. How the hell do you know? How does anyone even know that kind of stuff? It's nonsense when you really get down to the brass tacks of it all. But in this new golden age, suddenly infinite resources. Everybody gets everything and it's wonderful and there's no limitations because there's just so much stuff and it's fine. Because so many people have died now, we have so much extra stuff, everything's perfect and wonderful. Something like that. Or, I don't know, maybe they'll finally tap into a new technology that will make us have the ether technology again and we have infinite electricity and everything's powered by electricity, ether power, and it's completely free. And everyone's got their own ether harnessing antenna on top of their house now and everyone's got free energy abundantly galore. Something will happen that we can already have right now. All they're going to do is just give it to us, finally. So they orchestrate scarcity now, so when they give it back to us, it'll seem like heaven on earth in the future. That's likely what we're seeing, all this. So all this future energy lockdown stuff is to get us to know how bad it can be when we don't have stuff. So we're more thankful in the future when we finally have stuff again. That's probably how they're going to play it out. Something like this. I don't know. I'm ranting. I'm going on and on and on. I haven't answered any questions yet. Guys, get some questions in. Let's talk. I've been going for half an hour. I don't know how long I'm going to go for tonight, but get some questions in quickly. I'm going to take a very quick break because I left my water downstairs and I need to get a drink. While we're waiting, I'll play for you guys a song from my new album, Stupid Prizes, now available on iHeartRadio, and I think it's also available on Deezer as well. It's around, it's everywhere. It looks like Spotify, for some reason, is not connected to the internet. I don't know what I did wrong. You guys can hear me, right? Let me see if I can make this work somehow. Let's play New Age Hippie on this one for fun. Luckily, I think I actually have it right. Yeah, I have it right here. So I'm just going to play this for you guys as a quick break, and I'll be back in a second.
Tell me, what do you seek? I see you're after mystery. I bet you're a new age hippie. I could be wrong, it all depends. Do you drop acid with your friends in the hopes of seeing something pretty? And do you like it underground where the bass is bouncing all around and you're dancing to something trippy? Well, walking home is no fun when eyes are wide and jaws are numb and you got no shades in Sunrise City. Someday you will say that there's only really one way, and you'll know about the names that change while the game remains the same. For shame, I bet you're trying to ascend and consciousness is your best friend. Come on, man, you're a new age hippie. I bet you think you're a god, and in the end you'll rise above the thrones almighty. Duality's your deity, your mantra is it came from me. You yell it loud, proud and haughty. Well, don't you know it's all a lie, and when you do, you can't deny. My, what a pity. Ah, well, someday you will say that there's only really one way. You know when the names change, but the game remains the same. Oh, someday you will say that there's only really one way. We will be seen clearly in all that has been made, and we'll see. Amen.
And I am back. There we go. Sorry, I had some technical audio issues there at the end. How are we all doing? Did you enjoy that song? That's New Age Hippie. You can find it on the album Stupid Prizes, which is somewhere here. Do I have a picture of it? What's this one look like? Let's get rid of that. No, that's the book. There it is. Stupid Prizes. It'll look like this wherever you go looking for it. Go and check it out if you haven't already. And that'll be a really help for me. Let me know what you think of the music. There's 5 songs available on that thing. Yeah, right. So I'm looking through the chat. I'm trying to catch up with what's going on here. Happy Artemis War Ritual today. Go Masons. Pretty much, yeah. Everything's a symbol with these guys, isn't it? What did Brian say back to my point that he was mentioned on that show? I'm just wondering. We have flying cars. $225,000. Want one? Surely you've seen them on YouTube. Flying cars for the few. No soup for you. I've not seen that, to be honest. I didn't know we actually had flying cars. I imagine they're absolutely worthless, though. How do we as Christians avoid the army of Gog and Magog? You just have your wits about you and don't sign up for any nonsense wars, and you should hopefully be fine. Artemis 2 launch, false flag tonight. I don't know, is it launching tonight? Is that what's going on? I've heard people say, like, this is going to be where something happens, April Fools. I mean, it's almost the end of the day for me in the UK, so it might happen on the 2nd of April for me. If it's happening somewhere in America, maybe far on the West Coast, perhaps. I don't know. I've heard people think that maybe something's going to happen, like maybe it'll blow up or get shot out the sky or something. Like I don't know. I called it if that's the case. But I'm not watching this nonsense because it's all just Masonic ritual. It's all bullshit, and I feel like our participation in watching the ritual is perpetuating and fueling the lies. If not by saying, look at all the numbers of people who watch this night, you know, like if you contributed to that number, they're going to brag about you've helped them in some way. And I'm just not even bothered. If something happens, I'll read about it the next day in the newspapers, no doubt, or someone will post something in my Telegram. I could agree. I think it's demons that are subtly fleecing them across generations, but the people are now just out of control. Even the puppets don't listen. Yeah, it seems like I think they have lost a little bit of control, and I think even like I said, the greed of man and the stupidity and ineptitude of a lot of man is kind of making this whole agenda fall apart, which is maybe why there's a current like rush to get it finished, because they know they're not going to be able to keep it up for much longer before the people clock on, and they are heavily outnumbered at the end of the day. They know that. The demons are losing their grip. I think we can fight back and change it and even stop it from happening, says Demon Erasers. Well, you're a much more optimistic person than me, Brian, but I appreciate it. Maybe we need some of that optimism around here sometimes. I'm sure they... So Blanky LS says, I'm pretty sure they did the woke movement so that when the pendulum swings, it will be more extreme than ever. The nationalism is there to justify the new war. Yeah, something like this. It's perfect. It's how you do this. Gaslighting, isn't it? So you create this huge, horrible problem, and you keep telling people over and over again, no, You're a bigot for thinking there's a problem. You're a racist for thinking there's a problem. You're just a backwards, old-fashioned, patriarchal, like, evil person, sexist, racist, bigot, homophobe, blah, 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 blah. And they label you into... And it's kind of like, you can clearly see with your own eyes, this is pure fucking evil, man. Like, what they're doing is absolutely atrocious and disgusting and horrible and pure evil, man. And they're like, no, if you think this is evil, you're crazy. And it's just gaslighting you over and over again with the full weight of the system behind them as well, arresting people, shadow banning people, silencing people, like just ostracizing people, cutting them off even for just realizing just that there's pure evil afoot, you know. And then obviously if you do that for long enough, people are going to go, screw this, and stand up and say, hell no. And just swing the other way, hardcore right the other way, to crush the obvious evil in front of them. But then, obviously, once you've established that as the norm now, as a counter to the obvious bait that was put before you, it's kind of now they can use that justification for the next step. You know, totalitarian, dictatorial, Christian nationalist control. So the degeneracy never comes back ever again. And to hell with the heresy. You get it's Warhammer 40,000 encoded, absolutely. Something like that's going to happen, you know. And it seems badass on the surface, but like in the long run, they're trying to get a war to happen here where Christians go and fight. And if you get a rise of this strong Christian nationalism that takes full control and power over the nations of the West again, and then just crushes the liberal worldview and their ideologies and kicks them out of the school systems, and the indoctrination just ends, and then they turn on the next enemy, which is religions that disagree with them, and then you're coming for the Muslims and the Jews and the rest of it, you know. It's just going on, and then you're going straight for Jerusalem, you're getting it back, you know, and it's kind of, that's where you're going, isn't it? It's going to be Constantinople once again, that type of stuff. It just becomes this bloody horrible war in the Middle East between all the factions, a holy war. And with that holy war eventually happening, it's then justification as a framing for, look how bloody and disgusting and horrible those Abrahamic religions have caused our world to become. And then it's kind of like, we have to get rid of this. It's holding us back. But that's one way they could do it. Then it's the New Age religion to replace it. But it could also be like a seeming victory of Christ. He crushes all the enemies, and it's kind of like, okay, so, you know, Jesus won. Jesus people won. Christianity won. But to get there, we killed and murdered and slaughtered millions. And it's kind of like the New World Order begins with a mass sacrifice, you know, of blood and toil and sweat. And it'll seem wholly justified. And I mean that literally with a hate, holy, not, you know, it'll seem like a holy, righteous victory. But if the millennial reign has already happened, this is a counterfeit. And whatever Jesus suddenly turns up, which all the Christians are waiting for, the second coming of Christ, it's not going to be the real Jesus. And what we just did prior to it is not going to be the thing that made it happen. It's, you know, this Jesus will come saying, I've come to establish my millennial reign. Something like this. But if we were aware of the fact that, no, it already happened and we're in the little season of Satan, then that is clearly Satan turning up to pose as Jesus, as an angel of light. Again, I'm riffing here, but you can just kind of see how it could play out that way, right? It really could play out that way. And I think this whole hardcore Bolshevik, communist, socialist, liberal, ideological takeover of everywhere, with its such obvious evil and nonsense and delusions and mental illness ingrained into it, it's just an obvious enemy we're supposed to get angry about and crush. They're going to keep poking us until we snap back. And that's what they want. And the people who are a part of that faction are useful idiots who are deluded into being evil, possibly possessed by demons, and to make righteous people turn violent. They are the perfect bait for that type of thing, aren't they? And that's exactly what I think, that they're going to play their role perfectly, even if they don't realize it or not. They're useful idiots, they're patsies at the end of the day. Because to believe in their ideologies, you have to be mentally ill or delusional or fucking stupid. That's the only way to do it. Like, either you're evil or you're dumb. There's no other option, really. But you're clearly some kind of cluster B personality disorder kind of evil to be on that side. And they are going to get destroyed. They're not going to win the culture war. It's obvious. Like, the pendulum is swinging hard the other way right now. They're going to lose. And I feel like that was the point. They're like a caricatured villain that the good guy is the superhero supposed to defeat. You know, they're literally the Joker. They all dress like clowns. Like, that's what's going on. And the Dark Knight will rise, you know, and crush this enemy. And establish order. You know, this is the programming's there. They've been playing this out for ages, you know. I don't know, maybe I'm riffing too hard here. Let me just quickly check something while I'm waiting, actually. I don't even know. 212 people watching right now. That's a good number. That's a very good number. Thanks for being here, everyone. I appreciate it. If you're new to the live Q&As, it's a venting session, which is pretty much all my live shows. But I do answer questions more. I'm more active in the chat, shall we say. It looks like Justin Johnson just gifted 5 memberships. Thanks for that, Justin. I appreciate it. Unfortunately, I will say I appreciate the support. I appreciate the donation, but I don't have any content for members on YouTube. All my extra content is on Patreon because I get 95% of whatever you pay. On YouTube, I only get 60%, and I started there first, and I want to keep supporting people in one spot rather than splitting it, and to keep so no one's like paying more or less for the same content, if you get what I mean. So please come to Patreon to support me if you really want to support me. Link is down below. There is a ton of extra content on there, things you will not find on YouTube, and there's a weekly show on there as well called The Things You're Not Allowed to Say, where I get really spicy. So go and check that one out if you haven't already. But thanks for support. I do appreciate the support. That ain't working here in the US either. 80% of those polled are against Philadelphia and the war. That's not a majority supporting their agenda. No, I think I didn't hear Trump currently is like minus 17 points in the polls or something like that, which is the worst score for the president's likability in history, I think, like ever to exist or something like this. And then someone said 17 is Q in the alphabet, therefore this is a long-term plan by Trump. I saw that and I thought that was funny. I think it might have been a meme for all I know. Society, I like that one. Society says, tips for starting a YouTube channel. Yeah, just do it. Don't worry too much about the details or if you're going to start something like that, you have to just practice for a long time first, and it will slowly grow into the thing you want it to be. Now, I know everyone wants the perfect formula to hit the algorithm hard and become up to 50,000 subs in 1 month, getting 10,000 views a video instantly. But look, we're not all Professor Jiang, you know what I mean? We can't just do whatever he did. When it comes to being a speaker or whatever he's just gonna make, YouTube is a tough one right now to crack. There are formulas and things you can do out there, certain length contents, making sure you hit the point at the beginning and maintain retention by mixing it up every now and then, every 10 minutes or whatever it is. But what I've found is it's all bullshit. There is no surefire way of doing it. Either people like listening to you or they don't. People click your videos and like it or they don't. And that drives views. That drives the algorithm to go, people watched this video and liked it. Let's show it to more people and see if they like it and click on it too. And that's just how the algorithm works. So what I found right now is YouTube works really well for people who are real. And what I mean is, it's not like it used to be anymore, where you'd have whole production teams in Hollywood doing makeup, casting, backgrounds, special effects, for like a short movie or scene or something like this, and you'd put all this shit into it for months on end and writing scripts and writers. You have a whole staff team. You've spent like $1 million producing a piece of content that's like 15 minutes long or something, and then you put it on YouTube and it gets like 200 views. You know, like it's useless. It's pointless. What it is, the game now really is just some guy with a laptop and a microphone in his office, just talking for 2 hours. That really is the format now. And you know what? That's what people want. They want unproduced, basic, real people just saying stuff that they agree with and things that are relatable. YouTube has become like this place where it's like you're hanging out with your buddies. I'm sure many of you listening feel like you probably know me personally and you listen to me daily, and I'm just sat in your room with you having a conversation and you're a part of that conversation. And look, that's how I feel. That's why I do this, because that's what I like to listen to, and this is my community or my people, you know. And I found that works. That makes people want to see that. People want to listen to that. People want that more and more. It's the kind of stuff I watch. Just people talking about what they think and feel about the way the things are going, and people click and listen and like and appreciate. And it spreads. And it takes nothing. It costs nothing now. The production value is easy. It helps to know a little thing about sound and about the technical things about using software like OBS and getting the best output, and having some good equipment helps, like a decent webcam or microphone, and this, all that stuff is, but that's just details. You could literally just, if you wanted to, just do it on your phone anywhere and speak. And people will listen and like and go, yeah, I like what you're saying. I like the cut of his jib. That's cool. And I'm off. All it takes is just doing it. Just doing it. You can circle forever, kind of like umming and ahhing over the minutiae details of what it takes to make that video to go viral. But I found videos that I spent hours on go nowhere, and the flippant random clip I choose from a live show and put out within 15 minutes because I don't have time and I've got shit to do today, suddenly just goes off and I've got 100,000 views, and now that's the crappy standard everyone thinks my channel is all about. It's arbitrary. You don't know what's going to strike a nerve at any given moment and what people are going to like and click on. You just don't. So I would say take that pressure off yourself of trying to figure it all out and be perfect straight away, and just do what you want to do. Say what you want to say and do it how you want to do it, but keep it simple. Don't stress yourself. And either it goes off or it flops, but the point is you've done something, you've created something, you're practicing, you get feedback, you improve, things get better over time, you level up, as I think Connor was saying, you know, when it comes to, as time goes on, things get better. You look at my early videos, they don't look like this. They don't have this kind of quality to them. My thumbnail game was absolutely terrible. Awful. My wife is like, how are you getting any views whatsoever with those thumbnails? They are terrible. And, you know, they weren't great. They were just, I just picked a random image off Google search and just slapped it up without any words or context or anything. And then as time went on, I discovered Lightroom, and I discovered the drop shadow, and I've just had way too much fun with the drop shadow since then. And now I'm layering, and I'm putting myself in the thumbnails. I've learned a formula that works. And, you know, as time goes on, that improves, and it's just, you got to do it. You got to practice. But I would say do something now than nothing at all. It's best to do something badly than do nothing at all. And as time goes on, as quality improves, as people care and like to listen to you, the channel will grow. That's it. That's it. There's no like special formula. There's no surefire way. There really isn't. And don't let any charlatan out there like try and sell you on some course on how to do it or some bullshit like that. It's arbitrary at best. It's like, it's not even about consistency or anything like this either. It really isn't. It's just like, do people want to listen to you or do they not? That's it. Like, either they do or they don't. Either they'll like it or they won't. And that's it. And you know what? People are fickle. What they hate today, they might love tomorrow, and vice versa. You know nothing about Islam. I probably know more than you. The more I look into it, the more I'm believing in full preterism. I'm still dancing between full and partial. What are your thoughts, and how does it affect how we live and salvation? Says the redeemed worker. Okay, well, I'm not really a preterist necessarily, formally understood as the thing the Jesuit created in like the 1600s as a Catholic creation to the counter of the Reformation in some way to justify the existence of the Catholic Church as an established thing from the millennial reign. Like, I'm not like there's a very formalized understanding of what a preterist is, but partial preterism does share similar traits with the Little Season eschatology. But the Little Season eschatology is a modern creation based on modern evidence and things we can observe with our own eyes. It's a completely different new breed and a new understanding, and I would say probably closer to the truth than anything that came before it. I don't think we've fully fulfilled all of prophecy yet. I don't. I think we're in a short time after a 1,000-year reign. I do. And I've seen very little to convince me otherwise yet. I don't think anyone is going to show me anything, to be honest. I really don't. I know Shelley from There's No Place Like Home kind of went full preterist, but I really don't understand why, and her arguments don't do much for me, to be honest. Maybe it's easier not to think that we're in the Little Season. Maybe it's more comforting. I don't know. It could be anything really, but I don't know. It doesn't square right with me. Not even a little bit. I don't think this is the new heaven and earth. Paul, maybe in the UK, but we're seeing a revival here in the US and an X. My feed on YouTube is only like 20 to 10% pro-Israel. Okay, fair enough. Where do you think biblical Israel is located? I have no idea. I don't know. Could be anywhere. Like, it could literally be anywhere. I have no idea if it's in the Middle East like they tell us it is. It could be that it was a much larger patch of land than we're being told, and the scale's been reduced dramatically. So some of it partially could have been where we say it is in the Middle East right now, but it's also a lot of it could be underwater now in the Mediterranean for all we know as well. I'm not totally 100% sure where it is. I've heard it could be in Edinburgh. I've heard it could be in America. I'm pretty sure everybody and everywhere wants to claim ownership to Israel and Jerusalem. What I do know is we've been lied to about everything, and that probably includes our geography and how the earth was as a map prior to tribulation. If that's already passed as well, it's probably changed dramatically. I should have showed you the drop shadow, I swear to God. You should never have showed me the drop shadow. No, I went mad with drop shadow power. If you look at, you can see on my channel, if you go back in time, the day I discovered the drop shadow, all my videos went heavy on it very quickly. And I haven't let it go since. Even this one, if you look very closely at today's one, there's a drop shadow behind me. There's a drop shadow of black behind the live Q&A. But even behind that, there's a wider, more spread out drop shadow of the background color of the wall to layer it a bit more, while I'm layered slightly in front of the letters. The E is just poking behind my back there, can you see? It's kind of, I have drop shadowed the hell out of everything, but damn if it doesn't look dramatic and cool. I'm gonna keep doing it. I'll never stop. You can't stop me. I won't stop. Retired Army Man says, I got 1,800 plus views on a terrible video. I kept it up for that alone. Yeah, exactly. I know. That's how it works. You have no idea. Like, for some reason, of all my Nephilim clown work, for example, right, this pisses me off to no end, to be honest. But I did an interview a long time ago, like 2 years ago, on a channel when I didn't have a microphone. All I had was the built-in microphone on the laptop. And in this show, they wanted me to show them examples of things. So in the presentation, I'm Googling stuff and I'm typing on the keyboard, okay? And you can hear the tapping of the keyboard really loud because the microphone built into the laptop is picking it up. But it was a really good show and presentation where a lot of visuals were given. And I just clipped it and released it. And I slapped a thumbnail on it of like a really cool looking smiling clown face from like the 50s. And said it's called the Nephilim Clown Presentation. And I just threw that out as a clip from a live show, like a 1 hour clip from a 2 hour live show, because I had fuck all else to put out that day and I needed some content. So I just threw it out. And it was not high quality. The audio's terrible. There's click, click, clacking everywhere. Only went bloody viral. Like, what's it on now? I'm going to have a look. It's on something stupid now. And everybody's complaining about the clicking of the keys. All right, rage bait complaining, which has only driven up engagement, which makes it go further because they leave a comment. People think, oh, well, people are engaging with the video. We better push it to more people. And now, one of my most popular representations of my life's magnum opus work is this terrible video that drives more people away than it brings in. But it just keeps spreading. It just keeps going viral. I can't stop it. I'm going to search for it right now and I'll show you. The Nephilim clown presentation. I'm sure that's what I called it. Let's have a look. Oh, it didn't come up. Bugger. Was it just type in Nephilim clown? Or if I just type in presentation? There it is. Right, I found it. I'll show you here. Look at this thing. What's it on? Analytics. It's currently on 92,000 views since its release. What is this? It got released. Oh my. It got released 2 years, 14 days ago. And it only went viral 6 months ago. Okay, that's how arbitrary YouTube is. And now it's on 92,000 views, a massive spike, and now it's tailoring off and staying steady. I mean, come on. That's ridiculous, right? Like this video alone, over a course of 6 months, has earned me £500. Right? The little behind the scenes thing for you here. Look, here it is. This is it. And it's because the thumbnail's catchy. That's what happened. The thumbnail's catchy, okay? It's gained me 1,300 subscribers. And you can see here in the whole 2 years since it's been released, that beginning part there, it only went viral a good 3/4 into that release time and shot up to 90. And it's terrible. It's a bad video. I have such more high quality videos available than this thing. Presentations I put my heart and soul into with like high quality audio, scripts, visuals to map it all out and everything like this. And that's the one that goes viral. That's YouTube. That's how it works. That just letting you know. I find your Nephilim clown work phenomenal, says Electric Camel 33. As soon as I started digging, my mind lit up and all these connections and realized of things I already heard of. Well, thank you. I'm glad you like it. It's my baby. It's something I carved out and noticed and emphasized and put a spotlight on for sure. I'm halfway through the second book, maybe more than halfway right now. Actually, I might be 2/3, 3/4 of the way through. We're chugging along. I have about 4 chapters left to write, so hopefully that should be out mid-year. Fingers crossed. Maybe the beginning of the last quarter of the year if things get delayed. I'm trying to do the audiobook at the same time, so that might delay things by a month or so. But once it's out and done and dusted, I'm finished with that work, and everything I have on it will be in written form for eternity out there in the world. And if the bastards do take down the YouTube channel, they can't get rid of every book. So it's done. I could die a happy man knowing everyone knows about the Nephilim Cloud connection. There we are. Reuse that thumbnail image on a new post or two to see if the image continues to work, says Kim. Whatever, maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'll be making more Nephilim Clown content when the second book is about to be published, likely in the build up to the book to generate some hype. And also I'll be reading from the book and making videos in general as we go on. So maybe I'll reuse one of those thumbnails for that or something. Just to see what happens, like you said. But it really was just a throwaway video. And that's how it always goes. The throwaway videos are the ones that go viral every single time. The channel seems to have hit a new level, though. It seems like every video I put out now, where it's just me talking, and I call them my random ruminations. The half-an-hour videos, which I record in the morning while having a coffee, they do seem to suddenly be getting between like 5,000 to 10,000 views on average, which is good going. That's that's a step up from where I was previously. Previously, my videos used to sit around 2 to 5, and now I'm around 5 to 10. So something's happened. More interest is coming my way. I think it's a sign of the times that people are waking up a bit more and just turning to this type of content. I'm just ingrained in this community, so my videos happen to be what people find, and when they go looking for this type of thing now. So I'm just in a lucky position, really. Again, about the nature of being a YouTuber is luck. It's pure luck, really. Right place, right time, and time. Eventually, it's time. Just adds up, doesn't it? And I've been here long enough to just be a go-to in a sense. The white European blah 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 with the seed of Jacob, commonly called Caucasians, colonized Earth with fruit Christianity, filled the earth like the grains of sand, seashore. Okay, yeah, I've heard all that. The stars in heaven and compiled a King James Bible, took it to the four corners of the earth and established some of the most livable, prosperous nations on the planet. Okay. Charlie Chaplin freaked me out every time. Weird, strange, and absurd. Yeah. Charlie Chaplin was a member of the Oddfellows. Did you know this? I'm going to give you a random little factoid here. Oddfellows. So the Oddfellows, if you don't know, are a sister fraternal order of the Freemasons. Though they do claim to be independent from Freemasonry, they are not. They are definitely 100% not separate from the Oddfellows. I'm sorry, they're not. They have the exact same systems through and through. And Charlie Chaplin was a member of the Oddfellows. I'm trying to find the main website because they do give a lot of information on the Oddfellows on that website. Independent Order of the Oddfellows, a Sovereign Grand Lodge, History of the Oddfellows, Programs, Media. I'm just trying to find a list of famous, notable Oddfellows. Here we go. Yeah, perfect. So I'll share with you the screen here so you can see what I'm looking at. Here's the Oddfellows official website, the Order of the Oddfellows, Independent Order. And they have a list here of the most famous of their members. So let's just scroll through and see what we've got here. So we have, here we go, big list. Big list. And they don't have the names attached to these, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, the format of this is terrible. But these people are world leaders, generals, prime ministers, senators. These are kings. I think King George was a member. These are John Wilkes there, an English radical. Let me just close this. Let me just close that. I can't see anything. There we go. If we keep going through, you can see some of these people here. Yeah, so governors, senators, leaders, kings. There's the king. King Olav of Norway. He was an odd fellow. And then slap in the middle of this, you randomly have Charlie Chaplin. Let's just throw him in there. And you've also got this dude, Bruce Webb. And then among all these senators, kings, leaders, and rulers of countries, you randomly got Oliver Peck, a tattooer. Just keep going down this list of prominent. There's Charlie, good old Sir Winston Churchill. He's the member, if you didn't know. Keep going down. Then you've got this dude, Red Skelton, very famous clown. Just throw him out there as well while we're at it. Even Albert Pike himself was a member. Did you know? Did you know that? And you just go down all these famous people, and then you randomly got another tattooer there for some reason. A random comedian. You got a film guy. You got actors, musicians. Burl Ives is here somewhere. I know I've seen him. Who's this dude? Patch Adams. He was obviously another clown. These guys, they're just a few. So what you have with these people is a mix. There's Albert Pike, by the way, slap bang in the middle there. You can see just next to that. And also this old dude. I don't know if you can see this guy here. Let me just see what you see. So if I'm pointing, he's this guy. Okay, this guy right here. Can you see him? That's Phineas Taylor Barnum. He's the man who started the circuses in America. The big top tent was invented by this dude right here. And this guy is Albert Pike, 33rd degree Freemason and the creator of the Scottish Rite. So yes, to say that this is not a fraternal order of Freemasonry is a barefaced fucking lie of the highest order. But they claim to be independent, separate, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you can go look into this. They are, look, see here, the 3 interlocking rings. The main logo, 3 interlocking rings. And then you get the 3-ring circus, which was created by Phineas Taylor Barnum for the Barnum and Bailey show here. And you can understand that that's where you get your 3-ring circus from. It's copied from the Oddfellows main logo. So yeah, they incorporate these things into everything. You know, they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. Like, they're not idiots. They're all in on it. It's all a big club. There's lots of connections there. It goes really deep. But the point is, the major point you need to take away from what I just told you about the Oddfellows, this is a secret society where the main members are kings and rulers of countries blended with actors, actresses, musicians, and artists and filmmakers. Why are those 2 castes of individuals grouped together in one fraternity? It's likely because they're all, every single one of them, actors. They're all performers, but they perform on the world stage. But their allegiances are not to the countries they're claiming to be governing. The hidden hand of the second order, whatever it is, where they all do this and hide it in their portraits, is telling you that, yeah, you know, I'm playing a role, but my heart, my allegiance is to the fraternity. That's what it is. So they are the script writers. They're the performers on the world stage. That's what the Oddfellows are. So Charlie Chaplin, there you go. Thanks for that little thread. But yeah, if you didn't know that, now you know. I do occasionally drop some knowledge on y'all. We've got Neil Clark there saying there's a sucker born every minute, P.T. Barnum. Do you know what the story behind that is? Let me tell you that. That's wrong. He did not say that. But it was said in regards to a court case which he was involved in. So if you look into the story, Phineas Taylor Barnum claimed to have a real giant mummy. The mummy of a real giant in its sarcophagus at his menagerie, strange museum of curiosities that he owned. Okay, he's a proper charlatan. He got sued by a guy, okay, who claimed to have the real body of a real giant at his curiosities museum, and Phineas Taylor Barnum stole his thunder by creating a forgery, a fake giant, okay? Copied him and made a fake giant and claimed it was a real giant, okay? Now, P.T. Barnum had done stuff like this in the past. He once sewed a fish head onto a monkey's body or something, or a monkey's head onto a fish's body, and claimed he had a real mermaid, okay? So he fakes things. He's a faker, he's a charlatan, he's a con artist. And he pretended he had a body of a giant at his museum. And this guy who says, no, I actually have a body of a giant, this guy's making it up and faking it, he sued him. And they went to court, and the whole thing was so ridiculous. And the whole thing just got thrown out in the end because neither could prove that they had a real body. No one have owned the concept of having a giant's body on display or anything like that. But he was trying to sue him for losses of income and all this type of thing because he stole his clientele, you know. The prosecutor in all of this, I think it was the judge, said there's a sucker born every minute in regards to this whole charade that he had to be involved with. It was either the prosecutor, the judge, or the bailiff involved with the whole thing was quoted as saying that there's a sucker born every minute in regards to these 2 charlatans who have fooled thousands of people over and over again, fighting over lost income, over who lied first, basically. You know, it's a funny story when you actually look into it. It's ridiculous as well, absolutely ridiculous. Vinny says, Tube Trotters, it's definitely interesting what is written about Melchizedek and Enoch and Genesis, okay? I need prayer, this is bad, state cops popping your freaking router, I'm not scared. Oh yeah, in the 18th bomber group painting me with a laser when I was riding my bike, I discovered something. Okay, Wolf Shield Fox, I'm not trying to say that you're not going through something here and you don't need help, but whatever you just said, I did not understand a word of it. I'm not saying you don't know what you're talking about, but I don't know what you're talking about. You might need to phrase that better, please. The episode was interesting, though. He comes up with things I'd seen my whole life and opens my eyes to what we're really seeing, says Lady Liberty. Okay, I don't know what that's about, but cool. John Levi recently did a fascinating video the day. It started out about Montgomery Ward catalogue and spiraled off into the various cult and orders. Okay, so John Levi. Yeah, I used to watch a lot of John Levi back in the day. I did. Not so much these days. Waves of Fire. Supposedly Melchizedek in Genesis had the first Eucharist of grape and bread. Interesting. Orderly Phoenix, interesting. Had you heard of the 3 consecutive blood moons on Purim 2024, 25, 26, and the next blood moon on a Purim is 7 years later in 2033? Thoughts, says Market Theory. I have no thoughts on the matter. I think all of that is nonsense. I think a lot of it now, they could even fake this type of thing and orchestrate it. I don't really know what kind of sky we actually have. I don't know what's really going on up there in terms of the stars and the moon and the sun. A lot of things seem to be, it seems like the sun might even be not even be real anymore. It's been replaced by a simulator of some kind. And I am even wondering, this is some wild, crazy speculation here, but I am wondering if what we see up there is even real at all now. If all of it's just a projection of some kind, or some false sky which has been layered over the real one, which is complete and totally peeled back like a scroll, as in what happened at Revelation when Christ returned to establish his millennial reign. And the little season was when the little season began, our sky was replaced to hide what's going on and to put signs in the sky to make us think we're trapped into the wrong time. I honestly, I don't really know. I know that's a real schizo theory out there. But I think this whole obsessing over the signs in the skies telling us the times, blah, blah, blah kind of stuff, I think you're just dabbling in astronomy at the end of the day, and you're putting your faith into these things, which I don't think we should be. And then you're bored, and then people would argue, well, it's astrotheology and the rest of it, and you get into these Gnostic concepts, and it's kind of, look, no man knows the day or the hour for anything, and stop even trying to figure it out. It's a waste of your time and resources, and it makes you obsessive and weird, and it's not fruitful. There's no good fruit comes from it. How many people do you think throughout history have sold all their possessions or killed themselves or done something absolutely ridiculously stupid because they were convinced from some theory somewhere that told them the world was going to end on a particular day because all the signs matched up and the math was just perfect? It's like bad fruit every single time, and I'm just kind of done with that. I wash my hands of that kind of nonsense. It's no good fruit ever comes from it, so I'm leaving that kind of stuff behind. That's it, really. That's it. I always thought clowns were scary and creepy. Yep. Signs, seasons, days, and years. Sky clock is important, in my opinion. Yeah, maybe it was. Maybe it is. But, I mean, if we don't know what time we're actually in, then no, it's not. It's useless. You're looking at the wrong signs for the wrong time because you don't know where you are on the script. So it becomes a moot point, doesn't it, really? And I think that obsession over it can be distracting from our purpose here on Earth, to be honest, and what we should be doing. So that's kind of how I see it. It's not where my channel's going to focus. It's just not where my calling has taken me. Ever considered Adam and Eve had kids in the garden before Cain and Abel? No mention how long they were in the garden until they fell. God increased her pain in childbirths. If so, where are they? I mean, I assume they went off on the earth and did the thing. Does it matter? I mean, everyone was wiped out during the flood except for Noah and his sons and wife and their wives. And some perhaps Nephilim and corrupted hybrid humans may have made it barely just through to the other side of the flood due to their genetic corruptions. But other than that, I mean, why would it matter then? They're gone. So, yeah. That's all I don't know what else to say about it. Do you know Jay Dreamer? Yeah, I know Jay Dreamer. He's been on my channel before. I've been on his. He's always in the chat. Good friend, good guy, good vibes. I like to think I'm a part of his tribe. The good vibe tribe, yeah. He's got some of the most Gnostic teachings ever of some sky apocalypse. Yeah, you know, look. The guy is a good person. Okay, he has a good heart. And that's what counts for me right now when it comes to people in this game, in this world. We don't have to agree on everything. I don't agree with everything he says, and I'm sure he doesn't agree with everything I say as well. But I can't fault him on his attitude, and his theories are very interesting. Very interesting. And he does have a lot of evidence to support his claims about the phantazoids. And again, like you said, the whole idea of the red and the blue energy and the changing of it all and the plasma apocalypse and the signs that there was one and the rest of it. You know, there is a lot there, and there must be something to it. So I'm not willing to denigrate all of his work because we disagree or miss the line on the spiritual matter. Now, look, I believe Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life, and I hope, I would pray that Jay Dreamers comes to that same conclusion, or comes back to that conclusion, because I know he was raised in the church and he knows the Bible very well. And he's clearly gone his own way and doing his own thing, and that's between him and God at the end of the day, and I'm not going to judge him where he is on his journey. But his research is fascinating. I think it is. Conspiracies will get you lost in the abyss. There's no return, says Joel Thomas Bennett. Well, you've come to the right channel. Go watch my Tips for Truthers if you need help on that kind of stuff. I have a whole series, a whole playlist dedicated to discussing those horrible truths that you just said right there. There's a little seasoned and spicy here. I say, hey, little seasoned there from Beck from Oz. Good to see you, Beck, by the way. A quick drink, guys. I'm getting raspy again. Hopefully my high quality microphone didn't make you hear every single gulp. Get the water off there. I love that he's humble enough to say if something doesn't resonate with you, then you put it aside and take what does. I hope he comes to the Lord Jesus Christ as well, says Electric Camel. Well, yeah, you know, we can only pray, but that's between him and the Father in heaven. So let's just leave it to it, you know. And like I said, let him do his thing. Let him do his own thing. Joel has repeated himself. Conspiracies will get you lost in the abyss. There's no return. So you're just not listening. Are you just not listening to me? Or are you a bot or something? Like, that's a very bot thing to do, Joel. I mean, come on. Adam and Eve's kids before Cain was still being Eden because they did not fall, says Tube Trotters. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I really don't. Probably not. Probably not. Okay, so we're off on the whole Europe is the place vibe again. I don't need your advice, stupid. Well, come on. You sound like you might need to chill out a bit. Like, what's your problem? What's your problem? Honestly, Joe, what is your problem? Like, really, I don't know what's like. You're clearly lost in some abyss or something. You're on a channel called Understanding Conspiracy, and you come in saying conspiracies will get you lost in the abyss. There's no return. It's like, what do you want me to say? Like, why would you do that? You're in the wrong place to say this kind of stuff and not expect a response, right? Use your brain. Like, I don't know. I'm just getting angry. Sorry. I'm not trying to get angry, but come on. And yes, it's pronounced stupid. Let's get it right. You are stupid. Conspiracy is a huge ship, slowly drifting into the abyss. That's not a deep take, really. It's not that deep. Ooh, you said abyss. Careful you don't cut yourself in all that edge. Am I wrong in remembering the verses Jesus is the way, the truth, and the light? He's also the truth, the way, and the life. He's all those things as far as I'm concerned. I don't know. Is this a Mandela effect? Are we Mandela effecting here? Is that what this is about? Paul chat about the Shroud. You know, it's one of those things I've always dipped in and out on about the Shroud of Turin. And look, there's a lot there. It's interesting. It's fascinating. There's a lot of mainstream hype around it in the conspiracy culture right now, which makes me a little bit dubious. But it stands to reason, you know, if Christ was buried and in the tomb, then he would have been traditionally wrapped how people are wrapped in those traditional ceremonies and funerals. And yeah, if the shroud, if he did resurrect and there was some kind of energetic radioactive light flash that brought him back to life into his perfected life body, that imprinted a perfect image and burnt into the shroud of his visage, then I suppose that could be possible. But I mean, let's not make an idol out of it. And I don't need that evidence to like prove to me he was real. You know, a lot of people are using it for that purpose, I suppose. Watch now, he's going to turn into a white person. What the hell does that mean, Joel Thomas? Yeah, you just need to get banned. My wife's already banned you, but yeah, there we go. Fair enough, you know. Yeah, that was totally off base. Joel's in the right place with the wrong attitude. Yeah. Yeah, look, you can still listen, but if you're going to make useless comments like that, then no. What did SMG say? That's some truth. I missed it. I've missed so much now. Joel the Edgelord. Tunics of skin. Adam was like a charged battery pack. Okay, I don't. This chat's going off the rails, so maybe this is one of those signs where we need to start winding it down. I've got like 10 minutes left. Why do I always come back to someone calling Paul a redhead? Who called me a redhead? Who's saying I'm ginger? Look, yeah, I know. I'll just do this again. The beard. Yeah, I mean, you could say it was ginger. It's got some orange tints in there, that's for sure. But it's like more like a brownie type of colour. But it's ginger. But as it bleeds up into my hair, if you look closely, it's actually gold. My hair is golden. It's blonde. And when you actually see it in person, not in this weird light in this office that you see where the saturation's been edited and everything like this, it's got like more of an ashy, blondie, goldy tone to it than an orange tone. And if I shave the beard, like, if you just don't see the beard, my eyebrows, look at them. They're white. I have white eyebrows. With that golden tone through them. I'm actually not a ginger. I wasn't born with orange hair. Ginger people have orange hair when they're born and always have it forever their entire life. I had platinum white hair. Let me show you. This is me dressed as a child as Woody from Toy Story, and look at that, platinum white hair. So no, I'm not a redhead. I don't know how much more proof I can keep giving you guys over and over and over and over again. But yeah, I don't know. No, it's not strawberry blonde. There's no like red in it. When you actually look at it, there's nothing there. Nothing there at all. Awesome beard. There's actually a lot of grey appearing in it now. I've got grey strands appearing. So before you know it, this will be fully white in the next 10 years or so, maybe 20 years. And then you'll all be like, no one will call me a redhead ever again. They'll be gone. That'll be it. Some of us gingers are Auburn. Yeah, there we go. They calling you a Nephilim. I get that quite a lot. Yeah, I do get that quite a lot. Gingers also have freckles everywhere and no soul, so you're good, Paul. That's exactly. I've got a soul, and my freckles are just here, and I got a few on my arm, just a few. That's it, but I don't have them everywhere. The best thing is to stay humble, says Jeff Nugent. Any man who knows anything knows nothing. Knows they know nothing. That's right. Yeah, I try to keep it loosey-goosey on this channel for a lot of things. I'm talking about conspiratorial topics. There's some things we can know, but there's a lot of things we just do not know. And we're guessing at the best of times. Let's be honest with ourselves. We're theorizing, aren't we? So I always try and have a little bit of an attached nature. But I just showed you bang on there about the Oddfellows, for example. That's fact. Those people are all in a secret society together, and they have no business rubbing arms with each other when you consider who they are and what they do as a public understanding of who they are and what they do. But when you understand that, well, actually, they're a part of a culture of culture creation. They write the scripts that they play out on the world, and they play the roles as actors in the world to make it seem convincing that it's all organically happening as human history. But really, they wrote the script. They're playing the roles of the leaders. They're playing it out as though they're enemies when they're actually friends. They're all actors. That's their game. And witchcraft is art. Okay, and I've said this many times on the channel. Maybe I have to make another video explaining this again for all the newcomers. But art is witchcraft. And witchcraft, by its very definition, when you really get down to the brass tacks of what witchcraft actually is, magic, what it is, it's the ability to convince people of a reality that is not real and influence them to do things they wouldn't ordinarily do without ever touching them. Okay? So words are magic because they can influence people and give them ideas. Art is magic because it can give them ideas and influence them and make them think and feel things without you touching them. Film, music, media, all of these things are witchcraft, are the magic. They are magic and they are used to influence people. So that's why a practitioner of witchcraft is an actor. It's the same thing, okay? Actors are warlocks and witches. Like, they practice magic, creating an illusion that people believe is real. They can perform and put on a mask and embody something that isn't real and make people think it's real. That's witchcraft. So that's that's the truth of witchcraft. Now, Hollywood wants to convince you it's sparkles flying out the ends of little sticks. That's the what they want the unwashed masses to stereotype magic as in their own mind. Because they're not realizing that real magic is when you cast spells. It's spelling stuff. Okay, to cast a spell is to spell a word. You write a book, you've written a spell. Okay, and people will read the spells, and a lot of people come under many spells through reading books, don't they? It's art that's influenced them, changed them. Revolutions have begun from people's ideologies spread through books, you know. The Communist Manifesto, for example. Like, look, it's this. You need to get to grips with how magic really works in the world, and that's it. That's how it works. And what's the new rule? What am I doing? I'm going to start banning ginger haters. Okay, yeah, agreed. Let's ban them all. Remember, it is not a sin to be enslaved. It is, however, a sin to live as though married. I don't know what you just said there. The Kathakali is a sinister dance from India, okay. I wish I was ginger, to be fair, says my wife. I don't know where we're going here. Wendy says she's ginger but has no freckles. I can tan, but I do have a soul. There is no denial, only facts. If he was ginger, cool. He's just not. Yeah, look, guys, if I actually was ginger, I wouldn't be ashamed of it. I would say, fine, yes, I am, okay, whatever. But it's just because I know I'm not. Like, I'm not in denial about it. It's like, no, I have a bit of a gingery beard. But if you just get rid of it, you wouldn't call me ginger. You just wouldn't be. Like, you're being tricked, you know. It's magic. It's an illusion. You're a good dude, Paul. One of my few good guys left on YouTube. You are, Brother Stishon. Oh, thank you. I guess I'm fixated with the beard, and maybe my color of my PC is warmer. My son and granddaughter are ready. Yeah, exactly. You know, get rid of the warm nighttime hue on your laptop, and you'll see even more. Even I probably have it on my own laptop right now. I'm going to turn it off to see what it looks like. Oh, I can't. Apparently, I can't. It doesn't let me anymore. Okay, never mind. Screw that. But yeah, it's just the thing is, another thing as well is I think a lot of people get hung up on the whole Nephilim had red hair, therefore gingers are the descendants of Nephilim thing. And I've explained this many, many times. It's like, nope. There's nothing to do with it. It's not a link. There's no causal link whatsoever. The Nephilim are a very specific species of creature that isn't even human. And ginger people are just human beings who lack melanin. Okay? Or is it melatonin? I don't know, whichever one it is. And melatonin is the sleep one, melanin is the tan one, right? And usually that's because of adaptation to environment. So people in warmer climates, closer to the equator, have darker skin to protect them from the sun. People in northern climates, colder climates, that doesn't get much sun, tend to not have melanin. And that's it. That's really the distinct difference, okay? There's nothing else to it. Nephilim were man-eating, wide-grinning, sharp-toothed buck teeth, tongue sticking out, bulging-eyed monsters with flaming red hair and porcelain white vampiric clown skin. It's not ginger people. So I just need to make that clear, because a lot of people go down that route a lot. If magic is art, then words are art, hieroglyphs, alphabets, emojis, etc. are all symbols of power. Yes, you're getting it. That's true, 93 Thurtaurus 9. If that's how you pronounce that. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's real magic. That's one aspect of real magic. There is the other aspect of witchcraft, which is using symbols and signs and sounds and mantras and chants and even drugs and costumes to channel and communicate with disembodied spirits. There is that aspect of witchcraft as well. But to do it, they have to utilize magical tools, which is art. Do you get me? So never forget that. Art is powerful in many ways. And this is why God says things like graven images, don't make these things, because you don't really know what you're playing with. Every jot and tittle will have to be accounted for. It's really they're serious about this. If you create stuff, it will influence and impact the creation, the world, people within it, and how they behave. So you need to give an account for every word for that reason. It's not trivial to speak. And maybe I'm too trivial with my speech sometimes, and even I have to remember this. I try and keep it serious and try and do what I can to make sure that I'm not disappointing God in any way with what I say. I'm not perfect, though. I'm not perfect. Why are gingers the minority? I don't know. What? Because they just are. Does it have to be a why? Really? Why does it have to be a why? That's all I have to say on that. I literally had to spell that difference so the algorithm will let me post it. I don't know what you just said there, Jeff. I heard the Book of Enoch is a Masonic book. I don't believe so necessarily. Do you have any advice where I can get more information on this? The Book of Enoch is not a Masonic book. Its fragments have been found spread out through many places and pieced together by many interpreters over a long time. And various copies have been found in many regions. It's not a Masonic book. I don't know where you're getting that from. And it's always the same story. And it includes the Book of the Watchers, the Book of Giants, the Book of Noah as well. And there's all sorts of things in there. I think it's real. I think it should be canon, in fact. I really do. People talk about music. Is that what they're talking about? Jesus referred to the Book of Enoch as legitimate, so it would be very hard to consider it Masonic. Exactly. I think it should have been canon. I really do. I wrote about it in the book extensively, actually, and so look into it, and read the book. So if you want my full breakdown with all the dates and times and everything about the Book of Enoch, just read my book about it. I think it's completely necessary reading, to be honest. I really do. And there's a lot of people out there who are dyed-in-the-wool churchianity type Christians who want to tell me I need to stop listening to Jewish fables and leave it all behind, and the Nephilim weren't really giants, they were just men. And to those people, I have to say, open your fucking eyes. I'm sorry, I have to get angry. I'm angry about this. I'm not perfect, I'm a human. And it's look at the rest of the world. Giants are everywhere. The Book of Enoch is attested to by every single other culture on the earth talking about the same thing the Book of Enoch is talking about in excruciating detail. And the Bible is the source of that knowledge and information, the truth about what all of those cultures were venerating and worshipping and talking about. Okay? And to leave it out is foolish. It's probably the stupidest thing you can do. I'm not going to lie. Like, because it doesn't fit with your church doctrine. I'm sorry. No. Every single culture on earth, and I'm writing about it, discusses these monsters and has their stories about where they came from, and it matches the book of Enoch perfectly. It's human history. It's not just the Bible. All the Bible is human history. But the only difference about the Bible is it's told from the perspective of the truth of the matter, not cultural interpretation, which is what every other culture is doing. Because they were lied to. So take it seriously. Take it very seriously. I have to say that, like, I have to stress that. I really do. Take it very seriously. If you want to know what the truth of the matter is, don't just write it off because you don't like the way it sounds. No. You can't just ignore all the evidence all around us, all on the earth, in every single culture that attests to it being true. You have to wrestle with this. You have to contend with it. You got to bring it in. I'm sorry. You have to. You can't just ignore it. Get him, says Maria Walker. Yeah, look, first Enoch is good. Second and third Enoch, which comes from a more modern rendition, a more Gnostic interpretation. I think a lot of, does it come from Eastern Europe as well? Yeah, those are more Gnostic, messed up texts. Then they've been changed dramatically. Just stick to first Enoch, seriously, and then you'll be fine. Yeah. The book of Enoch is mentioned throughout the Bible several times. So if people in the Bible read the book of Enoch, why shouldn't we? Exactly. You know, again, I've mentioned all of this in my book. I lay out exactly why it should be taken seriously. I do. And again, you don't just have to take it seriously because Jesus said so, even though that should be good enough. You can just look around at the rest of the world's mythologies and all of them align with what that book says. So why should we as Christians remove it from our canon and be ignorant of what our history is? Why? Honestly, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Have you ever watched the show American Gods and their interpretation of what God is and how humans and their faith prayer are ultimately what strengthens a belief? Or I've never watched American Gods. I'm sorry, I don't watch much TV these days and haven't for a long time. And I know it's quite an old one. I remember seeing that come out, but I never watched it, no. Did you see Matt Geet's interview where he was talking about captured aliens mating with humans to make a hybrid race of beings? No, I've not seen that either. I'll have to look into that. Most people do not know that promises are lies and contracts are a form of this world's father Satan used to create iniquity. For whatever I more than yes, I know is filled with many words and errors. I don't know what you just said there, Morgan, but I'm sure it was important. I couldn't make sense of that. Sorry. Don't be a victim of top chat, says Wendy, absolutely. The problem is that Enoch is not reliable, but interesting for context. Well, I don't know what that means. I don't mean not. What do you mean not reliable? I don't understand. Your churchianity disparages Gnostics as though they are somehow unchristian, yet you are on the side of apocryphal writings. Well, not all apocryphal writings are equal, necessarily either. Look, the Gnostics went too far. Okay, the Gnostics that came after Christ are more like a parasite that twisted Gnostic ideologies into a Christian lens. And they did the same thing with Islam as well 700 years later. Then you get the Sufis and the mystics of Islam, which are just Gnostics who now have a Islamic flavor. Because Gnosticism fundamentally believes that the creator of the physical world and the flesh is evil, and that the true God is unreachable, called the Grand Architect, and we are under the dominion of the Demiurge, and we need to free ourselves from the Demiurge's world and his flesh prison, so through knowledge, we can free ourselves. That is not the Christian message. Okay? Nobody gets to the Father but but through me, but by me. Okay, that's what Christ says, through him and his sacrifice and what he did, and through his blood, through the atonement of your sins, through his sacrifice and his blood. Okay, he washes you clean. He didn't say you need to become like me and get lots of special knowledge and do all these extra steps, and then you can release yourself from your flesh prisons to be with my Father in heaven. He didn't say any of that. Okay, and as Connor said, you can only get to those interpretations by a blatant ignorance or simply ignoring the source texts. And the Gnostics are just wrong. I'm sorry, they're not. And to claim any form of Christianity under that guise is just horrible. It's wrong. It's offensive to Jesus through and through. It's a twisting of his teachings at best. At best, like. It's just, there's no foundation for it. Like, Gnostics will be Gnostics without Christ involved. But the flavor of Gnostic Christianity involved Christ. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, oh, well, he was just an example sent through the Sophia wisdom of how we should become. And once we are like Christ, or they go down the other way and they're like, well, Christ is just a astro-theological symbol representing the sun, or a form of a symbolic form in which we should transcend ourselves out of our flesh prisons into a form of enlightenment or something. Or they say Christ represents the oil that goes up the spine that activates the third eye. Okay, so they don't care about Jesus. He's just the vehicle to get them to the demiurge bullshit. And they are contextualized within that demographic region at that time. So they hijacked and glommed onto and parasitically hybridized Christianity to their religion. And then they did the exact same thing when Islam came along. Okay? They do the same thing. In fact, most of Islam is a Gnostic religion, but they have the Sufi mystic section. Okay? So no, I don't buy it. I don't think you can make these comparisons. And I'm not going to be sympathetic towards Gnostics. I'm sorry, because they are antithetical to Christ when you get down to it. And the gospel is wrong. You're not going to get to heaven through knowledge. You're not going to save yourself by learning enough stuff. I'm sorry, you're not. You save yourself by humbling yourself before Jesus and before God and accepting his sacrifice on your behalf so you can be forgiven of your sins and washed clean by his blood in the eyes of God. He is the perfect sacrifice. It's that simple. He did all the work. Nothing you do will save you. Simple. It doesn't need complicating. I don't know. Not all apocryphal books are Gnostic. That false label was applied by the organized religion churches to scare away people from reading the apocryphal books. Exactly. A little seasoned and spicy to the rescue there. The earth is a corpse, as Jesus said, Mud Fossil University. Not all Gnostics believe the flesh is evil. This is an absolute absurdity. See, this is the problem with Gnostics. You're always changing your beliefs or shifting the goalpost whenever anybody ever tries to define what it is Gnostics believe. They're as bad as communists, right? You can never pin them down. They're a slippery eel who will always say, no, that's not real Gnosticism. That's not what Gnostics actually believe. And it's like, shut up. Just shut up. Like, you are the worst. It's the worst. I can't. I don't know. I'm getting mad. I should stop. I'm getting mad. You can all see it. We've all seen it. And maybe I should just move on. I've been going on long enough. An hour 45. So yeah, there we go. I'll leave that show there, guys. Thanks for getting involved. Thanks for winding me up with Gnosticism as per usual. I actually, on this, it's kind of interesting because I do have a guest coming. Christian Gnostics know Christ is the savior of mankind. Your interpretation is entirely lacking. Yeah, but that's the problem. Christian Gnostics. And then you'll have Islamic Gnostics. Then you'll have mystic Gnostics and alchemical Gnostics, because that's the problem. You're none of those things. You're just Gnostic, but you put on a lens of whatever religion is dominant in the region where these people end up to pervert and fit themselves into something where they don't belong. That's all you're doing there. That's all you're doing. It's nonsense with a G. It's Gnostic nonsense with a G. Anyway, yeah, I do actually have a guest coming on the 8th, I think we've agreed. It's Donny from Spellbreakers podcast. He was on here a long time ago, and I was on his, and people have been sharing with me that he's recently come to Christ from Gnosticism. He's realized the error of his ways, and he's finally switched over. And I think he's been kind of having these conversations and battles with ex-Gnostics who were kind of in his field. And I'm going to bring him on to share his story and see what he has to say. I'm like, go on, Donny, what happened? I'm just going to be one of those conversations. And we'll let him tell his story as an ex-Gnostic of why he's come to Christ. Let's let him say it, shall we? And we'll just do that. There we go. So that should be good. That should be good. Coming on the 8th. We'll do it live. Gnostic nonsense. Right, anyway, guys, I'm going to get going. Thanks for listening. If you want to support me and what I do, you can always get yourself a copy of The Nephilim Look Like Clowns. You can get this on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle. You can get an audiobook as well. Wherever you get your books from in Amazon format. However you want to read it, you can read it in digital, audio, or hardcover or paperback. But if you want a signed copy, email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com and I can get one to you. I've got 3 of them available, so just email me and we can get that sorted and sent out in the post for a nominal fee, of course. But then if you just want to support me in general, please become a patron. It's the best way to do it, and there's lots of extra content on there, the things you will not see on YouTube. So please become a patron. It's the best way to support me, and if everything gets taken away on YouTube, that's how I can continue and keep myself afloat while I figure out how I'm going to come back, fight the man, or get on another platform. So please consider becoming a patron. That would help me a lot. And other than that, guys, I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening. And as always, God bless.